I will agree with you, and I do interrupt too much, and it's something I want to change about myself, people, just so you know.
But not today.
No, not right now. Not today, yes, but not at this moment. Progress, not perfection. If I was a manager, I'm sending every fucking client in all the time, and fucking go like rats in a barrel. Whoever gets it, gets it. The best man wins. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what happened here, and in regards to why I believe that Dane got it, and this is something to talk about to a lot of comedians out there. When Dane was first starting, he probably was doing the colleges. He probably had literally maybe if he had $30,000 to $50,000 in the bank, it was a miracle. And he said, "Listen, I'm not getting out for dramatic roles. I want to make a short film. I wrote a short film.
It was good.
I want to make a film."
Spiral. Exceptional.
So he spends $50,000, everything he has, because back then you can't just make a film for $6 and a bucket of chicken like you can now. You have to spend a lot of money. It was real film. It was a real production. And I remember Jeff Nicholson directed it. Just to see you lose your shit for something like that. Anyway, so
I'm doing stage 2. I'm waving air at Barry Katz.
I feel like I was Shucky Ducky now. So
hamburger, that was funny.
So he does this film.
Shucky Ducky, quack quack.
I remember I saw Chris Rock hosting
that show.
We
can't keep going off the
Shucky
rails.
Ducky, whack whack. After he got off. Anyway.
We're not even on the same fucking rail. We don't even have the same railroad cars anymore.
It doesn't matter. This is important. So he went, he bet on himself. He spent all of his money to make this short film. And for 8 years or 9 years, this film didn't make a difference. No one cared. No one did anything. So this movie came up, and I found out it came up. And his agent at the time, one of his agents, was this young agent at CAA
Reuben Kincaid
called Jeremy Plager. Jeremy Plager was one of the people on Kevin Costner's team. So
Dane, all right, hold on a second.
Yeah.
No. This is important.
Yeah.
So Kevin Costner and Dane had the same agent. That's an enormous chunk of property you're leaving out.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell the story.
So how did he not get the fucking part if they had the same agent?
Jeremy Plager had a lot of clients that he wanted in the movie. So did everyone at CAA. But the reason he got it wasn't because of the audition. What Jeremy Plager did was he took this DVD and he went over to Kevin Costner's house and he made him sit down and watch it. And I think that is the reason why Dane Cook got the role, was because of this young agent that walked it over to his house. Not because you did a bad job in your audition.
I know I did a good job. So I said to you, I want Mally Finn to look me in the eye and tell me that Dane Cook had a better audition than me. And you know me, and I've said it to Maddie Cohen, I've said it on the show. I don't give a shit about Dane Cook. Everyone always fucking shits on Dane Cook. Dane Cook is fucking funny. And until you can fill an arena of people that are not laughing at his jokes, then you can tell me he's not funny. But I'm pro. You and I are like the two most pro comic guys in town.
Absolutely. And
I'm not saying this as a negative on Dane Cook, but when I leave a room and I know that fucking ball cleared the fence and you tell me someone else got the part, I go, bullshit. There's no way he hit that fucking ball harder and further than I hit it.
And this is the reason why you are saying that, and because you had evidence to the fact, because up until that point, Dane Cook had gone in on every movie that you booked and didn't get it, and you got it.
Good.
And so there were like 10 movies in a row where you got it and he didn't. This was the first time in the history of both of your careers where you went in for the same role and he got it.
Well, I would like it to stop. One's enough, because I'm 2 Mally Finn appointments from doing Dancing with the Stars.
Hey, it's big money, buddy.
But that's the thing, when you don't get a part, and Katz, you're the one that instilled this in me, when you go into audition, you have to do such a good job. And this is also in David Mamet's book, True and False. You're an impediment. They know who they want. They know they want Owen Wilson or Luke Wilson to play Bob Sugar. And we covered it in a previous podcast, so just so you don't have to go back to that well. They know they want whomever for the part. They know they want Louis Guzman to be the friend of Arthur in Arthur. You know what I mean? So every guy that comes in, they're just going through the bullshit Hollywood motions because that's what you do. And Katz told me, and then subsequently I read it in David Mamet's book, you're an impediment to these people. But you have to know this is the best quote. And anybody out there that's trying to act and is having a hard time auditioning, and this is per David Mamet, you have to know when you go in these rooms, okay, I want to get this right. When you walk into an audition, everyone in the room is your moral, intellectual inferior. Because at one point in their lives, they were trying to do what you're doing right now, and they fucking bailed. And they took the desk job. They sat behind the camera, they're auditioning other people, and they're doing some mishigash, putting together a movie. But every single person involved in casting a movie, when you audition for it, at some time, whether it was in junior high or in high school, they did that walk the last 30 feet. And they fucking quit. They couldn't take it. Know that you are better than them. And know that you're still out there walking the wire. And when he said that, I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what Katz has told me the whole time. You didn't say those exact words, but what you said is you have to go in and you have to create a problem. You have to do such a good job that you are now a tooth, as Jane's Addiction wrote, like a tooth aching a jawbone.
I always said create your own accident because, when you drive by a highway, there's an accident, you stop and you look. And you drive every day and there's no accident, you don't look anywhere. Create your own accident. And
that might be the worst analogy I've ever heard in my life. Like, I can go into a casting session and take a shit on the desk, and they'll go, what the fuck? Everyone's going to look. Yeah, that worked good for Sean Young when she showed up at Warner Brothers in a fucking Catwoman suit, and they had her escorted out by security, you maniac. You know what? I'm tempted to have them take that out of the podcast. That's so absurd.
You can take that out of the podcast.
No way, man. You're going to sit on that one, because I am giving you credit. When you put your name on it, Katz puts his name on it.
It's all about the holy shit moments. That's what it is. And if you go in, if you'll oblige me, and you go into that audition and you walk out, you're trying to create a situation where they close the door and they say, I have to hire that guy.
Oh, yeah, they close the door and they say, now what? Like, now what do we do? We have an offer out to Luke Wilson to play Bob Sugar. What the fuck was that? We have a big problem. They can't imagine anybody. No one can do it better than you. There's nothing you could do that will top what I just did in this audition. And there's auditions I leave where I go, I don't even care if I get it or not, because I know I just put the ball in the upper deck.
Imagine, if you will.
And Mr. Brooks was one of those auditions where I fucking stroked that ball so high up into the upper deck that I went, fucking touch them all. Done.
Imagine,
and then I get the call that it's Dane, and I'm like, what? How? Did they move the fence?
And I had to make that call. Anyway, imagine how great you had to be in your auditions to get all the roles you got. You could never have been equal to the person who had a bigger resume than you. You couldn't even be 25 or 50% better, or else they would have hired that guy with the bigger resume. You had to be like 10 times better than the next person to get it, because you weren't supposed to get it by such a long shot. And that's what's amazing about when you look at your career and the roles you've gotten. You've done like probably 25 movies with some of the greatest stars ever. That's a testament to what you have to do if you're an actor out there or a comedian who is acting, which is flexing a different muscle, and that's another podcast. You really have to go in and be so much better than everybody else. And if you are, and you're undeniable, you're going to get it. They can't not give it to you unless there's a situation behind the scenes where, and I'm not saying that because I didn't see Dane Cook's audition, so I don't know that he wasn't better than you.
You saw me chomping at the bit, but I said I didn't want to interrupt so much.
I didn't see his audition, so I don't know what he did, but all I know is that agent helped his cause tremendously, and he should be indebted to that guy for a long time.
I'm sure he is, but what I would like to think is that my previous movie roles could be sent to Kevin Costner on a DVD. Here he is in Jerry Maguire, here he is in Go, here he is in Picture Perfect, here he is in this, here he is in that. And you know what? I could have used an agent that ran across the street and hand-delivered a DVD of my work. Because when I left that office, I went, no way do I not get this. Because it was like awkward between us with Mally Finn and I. And you brought up the Clint Eastwood one. That was the only time in my life where I left. I was this ambiguous gelatinous, gloppy shit fest because they don't tell you how they want you to play it. Clint, you meet on set for the first time when he says, "Whenever you're ready." That's the first time you've seen him. And he doesn't go to any of his castings because he says, "Well, I wouldn't do a good job with me in the room. I don't think it's fair on these actors." And that he's right. If Clint Eastwood's in the room, guys are going to wilt under the pressure.
But, the thing that I don't understand about Clint when he says that, what's to stop them from wilting when they get to the set and they see him? Why shouldn't they?
I think it's more a case of he doesn't feel like fucking driving in and taking his
It must be
spot.
because you want to know that they're not going to wilt in front of you so you can give them the part. That's the whole thing.
But here's the thing with Clint and his movies. They're always exceptionally cast. Even if you don't like the movie, everyone is perfect, with the exception of Larry Fishburne in Mystic River, who was doing a New York accent in Boston.
Yeah, he does love stand-ups, and he cast Brian Haley in the Vietnamese, what was the movie, with the name of the car, the movie was the name of
the Vietnamese
the movie was the name of a car, and it was about
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino.
I know. I thought of a restaurant. I got that fan doing DirecTV commercials.
All right.
So I auditioned for Jennifer Aniston with her. And when you first go in, it's the casting associate, casting director. Then there's a couple producers. Then you're in front of the director. And then they eventually decide, okay, it's time to bring in the studio. The studio, that's the shit. That's what's up. When the studio's on board, you're the guy. Like the studio can stiff arm the fucking director. The studio can tell the producer to get fucked. The studio is the group of people that acts like a Politburo that says, hey, guess what? We're Fox. This is our movie. Your name is one name on a poster, but this is a part of our entire catalog. We're telling you who to put in the movie. It happens all the time, and you have unhappy directors directing people they don't even like. Hopefully I wasn't ever one of those people. No, nobody. But however, in this case, this is what happened, where a director overrode a studio and threatened to walk away from the picture if I wasn't hired.
Glenn Gordon Caron,
who I believe created Moonlighting and kind of discovered Bruce Willis. I auditioned with Jennifer Aniston. I've made my way up from casting associate, casting director, producers. I auditioned in L.A. for Bill Mechanic, I believe, at Fox. Now I'm in New York because they're going to shoot the movie in New York, so they're having the screen tests in New York. And as I'm slow dancing with Jennifer Aniston, over my shoulder, I see John Corbett talking to somebody, quietly, very politely, obviously. And in my mind, as I'm saying the movie dialogue, I'm thinking, my sister's in love with John Corbett. Like, it's a bizarre obsession. Virginia loves John Corbett so much that if she was here right now, and I'm not even, thinking about what I'm doing, maybe that helped me, that I was so detached from reality. Because if you do look around the room and you see John Corbett and Billy Baldwin and her fucking boyfriend is batting cleanup in this cast of guys you would totally freak out. But I just never gave a shit because I was an alcoholic. And I was always super hungover. No, I was trying to make a joke, but in all fairness, I still completely, you know this, I don't really give a shit. Get me a fucking bat, put one near the plate. I'm crushing it. Or I'll miss. And if I miss, great. Get the part. Good for you. So I leave the screen test knowing I did a very good job, but I didn't have that Bob Sugar, there's no fucking way anyone read this better than me moment. But I knew that I killed it. I knew that I created a problem. And I knew that these other guys in the room, suddenly I was there's no doubt in my mind that I was in the discussion with whoever they wanted for the role. I knew I did at least that well. And I'll never forget it was a Tuesday because I walked downstairs to, remember payphones? On a payphone to check my messages, and Matt Frost, who was still my stand-up agent and was my roommate at the time, said, hey, me and Milton Lage, director of all the Club MTVs back in the day, and the MTV Unplugs, one of our dearest friends.
And former boyfriend
of Camille from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's who she lived with. That's how we all know Camille. Camille Grammer was Camille Donatacci. She was with Milton. He says, Matt Frost says, me and Milton are going to the Yankee game. Do you want to come with us? I'll call Katz too because Barry and Frosty was working in Barry's office at the time. I call you, and Katz and I